A hidden safe contained one final desperate letter and documents that no one dared reveal. Gene Hackman, with everything he knew, lived in silent fear, carrying secrets that could not be disclosed. He understood the truth, a truth that could overthrow the empire Hollywood had built. What he left behind in that dark room was a list of stars who had mysteriously vanished, cursed contracts where the souls of stars were traded for a mere signature. The dirty secrets were buried beneath the glamorous lights of the stage. Things Hackman had tried to expose, but perhaps Hollywood quickly silenced him before the truth could harm too much. When the safe door opened, nothing could remain hidden any longer. The documents and recordings he left behind would now shine a light into the darkness, exposing what had been concealed for so many years. Would you dare face the truth that Hackman had to live in fear of, choosing silence before it was too late? The secrets in this safe could change everything, unraveling a story no one could imagine. A story that could send a chill down the spine of the world when confronted with it. If you're curious about the mysteries surrounding Gene Hackman's death, don't forget to like, share the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Now, let's dive into the story. Gene Hackman had long retired from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, seeking a peaceful life with his wife in a large estate in Santa Fe. However, even in his final days, he left behind an inexplicable mystery. A safe was hidden away, not listed in any official inventory, never mentioned by anyone, and seemingly known only to him. Initially, the police had no intention of discovering this safe. They were only conducting a routine check after the strange events that occurred with Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, in the grand estate with its thick wooden beams and timeless, alluring walls. Everything inside the estate appeared untouched, with no signs of interference, and nothing seemed to be missing. However, when the investigators examined Hackman's office, they noticed something was amiss. A faint mark marred the wooden wall next to the bookshelf, suggesting a hidden space beyond. One officer shone a flashlight on it and gently tapped the wall. The sound was different from the rest of the wall, hollow. After hours of searching, they discovered a small door cleverly concealed behind intricate woodwork. When the door was opened, a black safe appeared before them. The safe was not easy to break into. There was no spare key, no records hinting at its existence. This raised the question, why did Gene Hackman guard something even his wife didn't know about? With no clues to open the safe, the police were forced to use force. A team of safe-cracking experts was called in, and a specialized drill was used for over 2 hours to break through its solid protective layers. When the safe's door was finally broken open, everyone in the room fell silent, stunned. Inside, it wasn't money, jewelry, or personal mementos, but a thick stack of documents, photographs, and recordings. All of them were tied to black and white images of Hollywood, faded papers, and contracts marked with strange symbols, some with a red stamp reading, "Confidential, do not distribute." Some of the images in these documents featured familiar faces from the entertainment industry, but in strange contexts. The parties weren't discussed, and meetings went unreported in any newspaper. However, what troubled the investigators most were the recordings. One tape was labeled in handwriting, "Hollywood behind the scenes, closed deal." The police immediately began to ask themselves, what does Hackman know? Why did he keep these things? Gene Hackman, a private man who rarely appeared in public after leaving Hollywood, raises a crucial question. Why did he possess these important documents? Some of the papers dated back to the 70s and 80s, the peak of Hackman's career, while others may have been collected later in his life. This led investigators to develop a haunting theory. Hackman wasn't just a keeper of secrets. He may have been tracking something. If he discovered the truth, he might have decided to keep these documents, holding on to them as a safeguard. Among the documents, a list of names that had mysteriously vanished from Hollywood caught the attention of the police. These names were not just stars, but also renowned directors and film moguls. Some of them had survived major scandals, while others simply faded from memory. A handwritten letter from Hackman was found in the safe, brief yet full of implication. In it, he wrote, "There are things I cannot change, but the truth will always find a way." Did Hackman realize he was holding a secret that could turn everything upside down? Or was this his final message from a man who had witnessed too many things he shouldn't have known? Whatever the answer may be, one thing is clear. Gene Hackman's story is far from over. When the safe was opened, it was only the beginning. The list inside should have never existed, but it was kept hidden within Hackman's secret safe, along with other classified documents. A list of unimaginable names, once iconic figures in Hollywood, now vanished or erased from the records. Among the recovered documents, there was a tattered file simply labeled Names, a long list of figures within the entertainment industry, each accompanied by handwritten notes. These notes weren't ordinary records, they were disturbing warnings, with some names crossed out in bold red, others framed in black ink and marked as silenced. The strangest part was that some names had been placed on a blacklist. The police soon realized that many names on this list had left Hollywood under mysterious circumstances. Some had vanished suddenly, without any retirement announcements or scandals, simply no longer appearing. Others had completely disappeared, leaving no trace. Jonathan West, an Oscar-winning director in the 90s, had been absent under puzzling circumstances after refusing a major project and had not been in contact since 2004. Next to his name, Hackman wrote, "Missing." Elaine Carter, a promising young star in the 80s, had left the film industry after hinting at Hollywood's dark corners in a 1993 interview and was never heard from again. Hackman also noted Michael J. Reeves, a talented screenwriter in the 2000s, who was erased from projects after a minor altercation at the studio. These names only intensified the these names were, and felt compelled to record them. The police quickly sealed the list and prohibited any access. An anonymous source hinted that the government and influential figures within the entertainment industry demanded strict control over this document. However, this only raised more questions about what had truly happened to these individuals. Are the people on the list simply victims of a ruthless industry? Or is there a greater force that intervened in their lives? Where did Gene Hackman get this list? A chilling truth began to emerge. All the names on the list shared a common trait. They had spoken out about sensitive issues within Hollywood. This sparked a theory that perhaps Hackman had discovered something dangerous, something that compelled him to hide these to speak the truth. Even more chilling, some names were entirely crossed out, as if Hackman had received a warning never to speak of them again. Certain was what else he had uncovered beyond this list. When the police rummaged through the contents of Gene Hackman's safe, they unearthed a thick file wrapped obligations. Most of the most prominent agreements required absolute compliance, with no exceptions allowed. Once an actor signed, they were no longer symbolizing the irremovable bond between the signer and the studio. This further amplified the chilling nature of the control system Hollywood had built, where every move of a star was meticulously governed. The police couldn't believe their eyes that such contracts could be real. If that were the case, it meant that some Hollywood stars had David L. Richardson, a promising young actor who was nominated for an Oscar, faded into obscurity after a blockbuster film. His contract was marked as terminated for non-compliance. Clara Monetti, a star at the peak of fame, disappeared after an unclear scandal. Her contract was canceled for violation. These cold words raise a chilling question. What happened when a contract ended, according to Hackman's list? Most of these figures no longer appeared in the entertainment world, leaving a haunting trail of vanished careers. One contract was even colder, with the opening statement declaring, "The sneezer will relinquish all personal freedom in exchange for a long-lasting career and absolute protection." What does this imply? Were the actors who signed these contracts completely controlled by the unseen forces of Hollywood? Were these terms meant to ensure they could never resist or reveal the truth? And did some contracts forbid them from speaking out about secrets, things no one was meant to know? These questions paint a chilling picture of power manipulation within the entertainment industry. Any attempt to discuss, reveal, or write about the nature of this agreement would result in immediate termination of the contract, with consequences outlined in Clause 9b. However, Clause 9b did not appear on any of the pages. It seemed that those who signed the contract were not allowed to know what the consequences of breaking the agreement would be. Was Gene Hackman involved with these contracts? The key question remains, why did he own this file? Notably, there were no contracts bearing his name, only a handwritten letter inside an unsigned envelope. The last line of the letter read, "You were never meant to see this. Discard it. A warning or a threat." This statement casts everything into uncertainty and raises many questions. Why did Hackman keep these documents? Did he know too much that no one was meant to know? And if so, was he keeping a warning for himself, or was he facing a threat that he couldn't escape? Digging deeper, the police found a smudged fingerprint on an important document. They quickly sent it for analysis, and the result stunned everyone. The fingerprint belonged to an actor who had disappeared over 20 years ago. Hollywood was no longer just about the glamour and allure beneath the red carpet. Hidden secrets were waiting to be revealed. No one dared to expose these truths, and somehow Gene Hackman held those secrets in his hands. However, the most frightening truth wasn't in just that safe. Something bigger, more dangerous, lay within the concealed documents Hackman had kept hidden all these years. The treasure in the room was enveloped in a heavy silence, making the air around it feel frozen. The investigators stood motionless, unable to comprehend what they had just uncovered in Gene Hackman's dark safe. An unexplained, mysterious list lay quietly within, accompanied by recordings that had never been heard before. Each item seemed to hold untold stories, secrets that, if unraveled, could change everything. The sounds from the recordings were not just voices, but key pieces of the puzzle, potentially leading them to a profound truth, one that even the seekers themselves dared not imagine. But there was something more unsettling. Part of the documents had disappeared. One investigator flipped through the pages and soon noticed something strange. There were gaps, some files were missing important pages, and some contracts only had the first page left while the rest of the content had vanished. A few folders were left empty, their contents stripped away. Someone had stolen most of the critical documents before the safe was breached. This raised a chilling question. Who had outsmarted the police, and more importantly, what had they taken? The police quickly re-examined Hackman's entire estate for signs of a break-in. They found a faint scratch on the lock of the office door, indicating it had been tampered with previously. Several other clues surfaced. A carpet appeared to have been shifted, as if someone had moved the safe before the police arrived. At Hackman's desk, a strange stain remained, as if an object had been there for a long time and had been hastily wiped away. The security cameras at the house had been disabled weeks before the police arrived, but the strangest part was that there were no reports of any theft in the estate. Gene Hackman never reported any break-ins to the police. Why did this theory arise? If someone snuck into Hackman's house, why didn't he speak out, especially if they stole important documents? Why did he keep the rest? Did Hackman choose to hold on to what he deemed necessary, to ensure that the most dangerous things didn't slip away? One investigator recalled a strange handwritten note from the safe. "You were never meant to see this, Gene." Who sent that message? Was it a warning? If so, Hackman might have known he was holding something more dangerous than he could imagine. Perhaps when someone broke into his house, he chose to remain silent, realizing that speaking out would only make everything worse. From torn pages and empty file folders, the police tried to guess what the missing documents might contain. The clues suggested that the Hollywood blacklist might be longer than what had been found. Perhaps even more names had vanished mysteriously. No one had ever questioned why some of the most important contracts had vanished. Someone had erased the traces of the actors associated with these dark deals. The recordings might not have been borrowed. Only one cassette remained, but there were signs that it had once been with at least 3 other tapes. It seemed the most horrifying secrets had been taken before the police could seize them. If someone took these crucial documents, they must have had a serious reason for doing so. 3 main theories emerge. A close friend of Hackman may have been confided in, and this person later took the most dangerous parts before the police could find them. A Hollywood power force. These files could expose a terrifying control network within the entertainment world. Not just a glittering facade, but a labyrinth full of secrets buried deep beneath the dazzling light of the stars. And perhaps someone acted to prevent the truth from being exposed. Hackman, with what he held, may have been fully aware of the potential danger. If he truly feared what he knew, he might have arranged everything covertly, passing on some crucial information to someone he trusted, someone who would safeguard it, protecting it from the light. If that's the case, then perhaps everything had been carefully planned long before any events could be revealed. But if Hackman orchestrated this, why didn't he destroy everything? Why keep the contracts, the lists, and the recordings? One investigator suddenly recalled a small but crucial detail. Inside the safe, the police found a stack of blank papers stamped, "Restricted, do not distribute." These papers had nothing on them except traces of writing that had been erased with a special chemical. What does this mean? Did Hackman intentionally erase part of the crucial information? Or did someone else do this to prevent the revelation of the remaining secrets? The traces of the erased writing could be a clue, but at the same time, it raises a significant question about what was truly hidden. Perhaps the missing files weren't stolen. Perhaps Hackman or someone else deliberately wiped them, and if someone had the nerve to break into Gene Hackman's mansion to steal the documents before the police did, then it signals that the thing that disappeared may hold Hollywood's most shocking truth, but who has them now? And what is their next move? As the police urge a call to come in from an anonymous witness, the voice on the line says softly but tensely, "You're looking for the wrong documents. The real documents are still out there. Hollywood has never been completely clean." But if the loss was so terrible that someone stole it to cover it up, the truth could not only reshape the entertainment world, but also shake the world. In the dark interrogation room, investigators sat silently studying what was left of Gene Hackman's safe. If you find the story we just shared fascinating and intriguing, leave a comment with the number 1. If not, leave a comment with the number 0. And now, let's continue uncovering the mysteries of Gene Hackman. What they held wasn't just evidence. It was a mystery too vast, too murky to be publicly revealed. Hollywood, the land where dreams are made, stars are born, but also the place where horrifying truths are buried forever. Hollywood, an empire built on deception. The remaining documents from Hackman not only recorded contracts and blacklists, but also outlined a system too sinister to acknowledge, a rigid control network that Hollywood had operated under for decades. Staged accidents, mysterious endings, everything was hidden beneath the glamorous surface. While many celebrity accidents were thoroughly investigated, the public results always seemed to follow a controlled narrative, masking the truth and keeping the industry's dark secrets intact. These documents reveal a chilling reality. Behind Hollywood's glitz is a web of power and manipulation that no one dares to challenge. But these reports don't consider it an accident. From famous names suddenly disappearing from the screen to scandals being quietly suppressed, all of them are linked by a hidden thread: silence that is never made public. Hollywood has always had actors, directors, and producers who vanish mysteriously when they dare to expose its dark nature. The remaining files of Hackman detailed a series of stars who tried to expose the dark forces at play. A chilling recording captured a scandal from the 90s, one that was about to shake Hollywood. He had tried to speak out, but he never had the chance to say another word. If Gene Hackman kept these papers, was he involved in it? There is no direct evidence to accuse him of being involved in these incidents. But one thing is certain: he knew more than he ever revealed. The police found a small note tucked between the files containing just one line: "Don't trust anyone. They own everything." Hackman may have kept these things as a shield, a bargaining chip to keep those forces at bay. But if so, why did he and his wife leave so suddenly? Gene Hackman and his wife departed from this world too abruptly, with no signs of warning, no serious health issues recorded beforehand, and most troubling of all, no immediate investigation following their deaths. Why did a legend like Hackman leave without any official investigation? Was someone eager for it to end quickly? If Hackman truly held important secrets about Hollywood, perhaps someone ensured his permanent silence. His wife may also know something, or simply be an unwitting witness. Why is there no trace of criminal activity? Strangely, there is no evidence pointing to a direct conspiracy behind Hackman's departure, but investigators noticed that too much had been erased from his records. Hackman's medical records mysteriously disappeared, with a crucial part vanishing before the police could access them. The security cameras at his estate had been turned off for weeks prior to his death. Those who had worked with Hackman remained silent when asked about this. It didn't seem accidental. The truth could be far more chilling than any Hollywood horror film. Gene Hackman may have unintentionally kept files he shouldn't have, or he may have deliberately collected evidence for reasons unknown. But what's more urgent is whether Hollywood runs a system controlling all the scandals. If disappearances and strange deaths are systematically covered up, who's pulling the strings? Before the Hackman case could be closed, an anonymous tipster contacted the police. The voice on the phone whispered coldly, "You're just scratching the surface. The real story is still out there." This implied that many files are still hidden, and someone is still controlling Hollywood from the shadows. Is there a more serious truth than anything that's been uncovered so far? What remains in Hackman's safe may only be a small part of a massive secret that no one truly wants revealed. The police are now faced with a difficult dilemma. Should they dig deeper or pull back from a force too powerful to confront? Are those involved in the case truly safe? Who really holds the missing documents? One thing is certain: Hollywood is never as simple as the stories on the silver screen. And perhaps the most shocking story has yet to be told. As investigators rifled through the final pages in Gene Hackman's safe, they stumbled upon something unlike the previously classified discoveries. It wasn't a contract, a blacklist, strange photos, or recordings. It was a letter. A single handwritten sheet in black ink. The hurried yet steady strokes were filled with urgency and deep contemplation. The words appeared to be hastily crossed out, as if Hackman felt his time was running out. At the beginning, a brief sentence paused everything for a moment. "There are things I cannot change, but the truth will always find a way." The message from Gene Hackman was not just words, it was a warning to the investigator. The very presence of the trembling handwritten letter raised the question: did Hackman foresee what was about to happen? If he had protected those files for years in silence, why leave behind such a note just before departing? On this earth, did he feel the danger closing in? Or was he trying to warn someone before it was too late? This letter wasn't just a note. It was the final piece of the puzzle. The following lines did not name anyone specifically, offered no farewell, and gave no hint whether it was meant for the police or anyone else. Yet, a keen investigator noticed the tone. It resembled a final will, or a desperate plea sent to someone. Hackman placed his trust in the letter, which read, "I have stayed silent for too long, not out of fear, but because I know no one can fight against them. But if someone finds these, if someone is reading this now, know this: the truth is not here. It has been hidden, and I don't know who holds it." A clear sign. The documents Hackman kept weren't the whole story. The most crucial parts had been taken before the police could access them. So, where are those missing files, and who stole them before Hackman could speak? Hackman wrote the following with deep sorrow. "We always believe that Hollywood creates magic, but behind that glitter, there are shadows no one dares to face. Those who try to step out never have the chance to return. A system of control, a truth being strangled." An invisible hand guided everything Hackman had witnessed. Actors forced to leave Hollywood, powerful names suddenly vanishing, accidents that seemed random but were actually meticulously planned. No one knows what Hackman endured, what he saw with his own eyes. But it's clear that Hackman lost faith in the world he once belonged to. Hollywood, with all its glitter and power, had turned into a cold and ruthless machine, where dark secrets were buried deep beneath its glamorous surface. The biggest question remains unanswered. Who was Hackman directing this warning towards? Was it the police? Who exactly? The police are unsure, and the system Hackman refers to seems to have grown so powerful that even the authorities are left perplexed. A former friend? If so, who are they? And are they still alive? Or was it the public? But how could a letter hidden in a safe ever make its way to them? These questions only deepen the mystery surrounding Hackman and what he witnessed, making it even more complex and difficult to unravel. The end of the letter is a scroll of paper that seems to have been written in panic. "If they find me first, please remember to look beneath the silver screen." A cipher, a clue about where the lost files are hidden. Or perhaps it's just a metaphor, that the truth is never on the surface, always buried beneath the glossy veneer of Hollywood. These final words evoke a dark truth, a reminder that what the public sees is just the surface, while the most important secrets are kept hidden, never meant to see the light. Gene Hackman tried to leave a warning, but did he truly believe the truth would ever be revealed? His letter ends with a mysterious line. "I tried to fight, but some battles don't mean you have to win." Perhaps Hackman realized he couldn't overthrow this power. Maybe he resisted but couldn't escape. Or worse, he realized that even if the truth came to light, those behind it would never be held accountable. They would remain in control, power still in their hands, and the world around them would continue spinning without ever changing. So who really is behind it all? These power ghosts hide in the shadows of Hollywood, where everything seems to be covered up, and the truth is hard to reveal. Will these secrets forever be buried, just forgotten stories, or will one day they finally come to light, so the world can see what is really going on behind the scenes of this extravagant and deceitful empire? If you're surprised by the mysteries buried behind the death of star Gene Hackman and want to uncover more intriguing details, don't forget to like, share the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments to let us know. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.